I'm going to start off saying over shtickle Meisa because lately I've been getting a lot of complaints from, unfortunately, there's a lot of older single girls and they don't know what to do. Not that I have an answer for them what to do, but just to say a Meisa, maybe it'll give them a little bit chizuk. I'm not advertising. The story goes like this. There was an older girl, and she was looking for a shidduch. And some shadchan set her up with a boy, and she went out with the boy a few times, and she went out with many boys before that, and they were not moitzachein beineha. But this one boy, she felt that she had all the right midas and all the things that she wanted for in a husband, and so she was seriously considering him. However, he had one major chisaron, and that was that on his face he had a big nasty scar. And she had a hard time looking past that scar. It's a famous story, so whoever knows the story is Adraba, and if you don't know the story then now you know my version of the story. But so Lamaisa, she wasn't ready to move ahead, so the boy stopped her and said, Lamaisa, like, what's the story? He wanted to know, either we're going to continue or we're not going to continue, but don't leave it hanging, which happens to be a big machla by boys, especially. They can't make up their mind, they're not clear, they don't know, they don't give answers, which is a big problem. But so finally she tells the guy says, what's bothering you, what's holding you back? She said, I'll tell you, I like everything about you, but you have the scar on your face, which I have a hard time getting past. So he says, let me tell you the story, what happened. So the story was, those who know the story, the famous story, that when she was a young girl, she was walking in the woods, and a bunch of, I don't know if they were goyim, but a bunch of people started up at her, and so she was very scared, so she climbed up into a tree to hide from the guys. The Maisa, she had a baby sister with her in the carriage, and those guys who were chasing her, so she was then afraid that they were going to hurt the baby. But she was hanging on into the tree as tight as she could, and they were shaking the tree. She had no answer, she had to come down because she was afraid that her little sister would get hurt. Then all of a sudden along came a boy who was like a little bit older than her, and like same age as those guys, and started fighting with them and to leave her alone. Lamaisa, these guys were bad guys, and they had a wooden stick, and in that stick was a nail, and they started beating him blue, and one of them whacked him across the face with the stick, the nail in it, and it made a big huge gash in his face. And he said that this gash in my face is from those guys who beat me up. He says, but you should know, I did it not because I'm a fighting guy, but there was somebody who I felt was besakana, so I had to save her. So she like almost fell off her chair. She said, I want to tell you something. She said, I'm that girl who they all starting up with, and if that's the case, that you have the scar, for me, I'm very happy to get married. So, what's the lesson of the story? The lesson of the story is that why didn't she get married until now? Because this was the guy that was mesugal for her. There was nobody else. And so Rabbi Shalom made her wait. For whatever reason, we don't know Kishbainis. But he made her wait for that incident to happen till that shidduch was read in order for that person to marry her and her alone. So I'm just saying this, anybody who listens, who needs a shtickle chizuk in a shidduch, whether it be boys or girls, is geht nicht, soll man wissen sein that first of all, there's no tefillah that goes unanswered. It may not be the answer you're looking for, it may not be for the thing, but every tefillah has its place. So never ever stop davening. And even if you find the shidduch, try to continue davening because we always need things. We need to breathe, we need to have children, everything we need. So therefore, we should never ever stop davening and should never ever give up hope. And the biggest raya you can learn from Mashiach, because we know that there's a mitzvah of Achakaloi b'chol yom she'yavo. You always have to think he's coming, and already for thousands of years he didn't come yet. So that means we stop davening, we give up, chas v'sholem, we keep on davening for it. So therefore, I wanted to give to those people who hold themselves to be close to Mashiach, so it should be a chizuk. And also anybody who's waiting for anything, or whether it be for money or children or zivugim or health, whatever it is, never stop davening. That's the lesson that I wanted to learn out from Yenna's story.